Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Roguelike monthly marathon for April 9th. As you can see, we currently have 5 trophies in the monthly marathon trophy cabinet for April, and now we are trying for our 6th in the Binding of Isaac Repentance. Recently updated from the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth or Rebirth, or whichever of the many expansions this game has had, it's time to go back to where roguelikes all started for me. We're going to start a new run. We're going to play as Isaac on normal, ignore the minus 35 streak, and let's see how we do. So, if you don't know, Binding of Isaac originally came out as a Flash game about 10 years ago. And in this game, you go through a dungeon, getting destroyed by many creatures. So immediately that's not started well. You can see at the top corner we have an item called the D6, and that lets us take items on pedestals like this and turn them into other more desirable pedestals. But unfortunately, we currently have the Curse of the Blind, and so we cannot see what these items are. Fortunately, because this item came out of an exploded rock, I know that it is small rock, which gives us a damage up, which I'm very grateful for. It does make us walk a bit more slowly, but I think we will manage. This question mark, who knows, could be anything. It's a bird's eye, as in bird's eye chili. So now we have a chance of shooting fires from one of our eyes. I will certainly take that. So with its new expansion, this game now has more secret endings and variable floors than I can possibly begin to describe to you. But fortunately for us, all we need to do is get to the standard ending on standard difficulty, and that qualifies as a win for us. Unfortunately, here in the shop, we do not have any money, so we cannot buy any of these wonderful things. I don't know why my tears keep shooting without me telling them to. Maybe there's some issues with my key input. So each floor will have a item room, a shop, and a boss room, a secret room, a second secret room, and then any number of other alternate rooms such as arcades, self-sacrifice rooms, boss rush rooms, all kinds of things. But here is our first boss, the Haunt. So we have to kill these 3 little baby ghosts before we can attack the big ghost. And then he will stay up there on the top wall. So if we can just put loads of fires up there, we don't even have to hit him directly. And that went pretty smoothly. Again, we can't see what the items are right now, so we'll just take this. It's Mum's lipstick, and so that means our range is increased. We can shoot a little bit further with our tears, which is quite alright. We have 2 bombs, so we could go looking for a secret room, but we'll save them for now and go down to the second floor. I think in total we'll be doing 10 floors today, if all goes well. This room on the left you see has spikes around it. It will make us take damage if we go in and come out of that room. So for now we're not going to do that. We could spend bombs here to get chests, but I'm going to keep what I have in resources for the moment because we're quite resource light, but I will spend a key to come into this treasure room. And this is possibly snake poison or booger tears. Sinus infection, booger tears. So now sometimes, like earlier, we would sometimes shoot a shot that is a flame. Now we can sometimes shoot snot that will stick to our enemies and cause them to be damaged. Here we can blow up this rock with a cross on it, and there's health hiding inside. And if this twitchy spider will stay in place, we can damage that. I'm not going to take these blue hearts yet. There's a very specific reason I'll explain in just a moment. Oh look, there's another rock with a cross on it. Do you see it up at the top there? Oh, that's plenty of bombs and keys. We can do a lot with that. We'll open this. Why not? And a trinket. Golden horseshoe. Feel lucky, question mark? Not particularly yet, but who knows what else can happen. So with 3 bombs, I will go back and see what's in some of these extra chests. And every run of Isaac is totally different. There's so many variables between the 17 different characters that there are in the game, the many pills that are currently unknown to us because we haven't taken one yet, but if we consume this pill, we'll learn what powers it has and be told the next time we pick it up, so let's have a punt. We wet ourselves on the floor, but if any enemies stood in the wetness, they would be damaged, so if we find another lemon party pill, that will be of great benefit to us. So, time to fight our second boss. The Duke of Flies. Not a tricky one, he will just float around, spewing flies out of his mouth, but he has low HP, and so, nice and simple. Finish the last of the flies, and on the left here you can see that a room with a devil's head has appeared, and so if we go through this door, we can make a deal with the devil to give up 2 of our HP for this shadow item. I'm not a big fan of this, especially for that higher cost, but I can use my dice to change it by pulling the left trigger. And we have the Corrupted PhD, which I don't know exactly how it works yet. The standard PhD would make all pills positive pills and identify them for us. But as I'm a little unknown on what that is, and we're trying to win today explicitly, we're not going to take too many mysteries. This is toothpicks. It makes our tears more frequent. If you haven't figured it out yet, we are playing a baby who cries on his enemies because he's very sad. We will now take these 2 hearts. They are on top of the 5 standard hearts that we have. The 3 standard hearts that we currently have. If we lose them, they're gone forever. We can't re-heal them. We can only replace them with other hearts. But for now, I think we will be leaving. So far, so easy. Of course, it's going to get tougher the further we go. Now we are in the flooded caves, so we can expect more water-based enemies. Although, not these bats. These are just bats. And fat bats. And I'm getting shot at with tears a lot, which is to be expected in a game where almost everything exclusively tries to either cry on you, bleed on you, or blow you up. Or poop on you. That can work too. These poops that appear in the environment, you can shoot them, and sometimes they will hide coins or hearts or trinkets. And you can see here examples of elite enemies that are slightly different versions of standard enemies. Usually a bit stronger with a specific effect. Unfortunately, we can't get over this gap to fly over to that pill and half a heart, so we'll just press on. And these enemies suck. They jump at an excessively high speed, normally right on top of you if you get too close. Often they start as their non-on-fire variant, and then if they jump into a fire on the level, they will then become their flaming variant. But today, straight into the fires for them. I did wonder whether I should play the original Isaac, the original Flash game from 10 years ago that's much the same as this, except lower in quality in basically every way. But it does have a certain nostalgia. Unfortunately, it doesn't run quite the same as these more modern variants of the games. So it's harder to get it to run in the right size and aspect ratio. And this is a black bean. I do not want a black bean, and so I'm going to re-roll it with my dice. And this is a metronome. I don't know what it does. You pick it up. Don't know what it does. I will see if I can't get some more battery charge for my D6 and give that another roll in just a moment. My partner and I have been playing this now that it has a full co-op mode. Previously, you used to be able to have a second player play as a little floating baby that could assist and shoot but not do very much else. But now they have a full co-op mode where you can play two of the full main characters at the same time, which is excellent for us because we're going to put in hundreds more hours into this game. The dime there was worth... okay, it might be a nickel, it might be a dime, I'm not sure which is which, but 5 cents and 10 cents respectively do exist in the game. So what we can do now is, before we take on our boss, if we loop back round here a moment, there is a shop. The first shop is open for free, but this one we require a key to get into, and we have a few interesting things here. On the left, you can see the Steam sale. It gives 50% off all items. And here we have a battery charge. This will fully recharge our dice and let us reroll the item that is in the item room. But instead we have a third option, I believe, available to us, which is this room all the way on the right. So this room with the crossed swords on its border. If we open this chest, it will spawn 3 waves of enemies. And with each wave of enemy we defeat, we'll get 1 pip of charge on our dice. So let's do this. And we get a very lucky item, which I'm grateful to have. That is a torn photograph of Isaac and his family with the dad missing. And because his dad's missing from that photo, he's very sad. And so when he picks up the torn photo, he will cry even more, which means we're more effective at crying on our enemies. And that's if we don't die before we even get there. Very good. So, torn photo, tears and shot speed up. So now we're crying loads. There was an extra red heart 2 rooms ahead, so we can fill up our health before the boss fight. But for now, let's see if we can get something better here. This is Tech 0.5, which is very good. It supplements our regular tears and will sometimes fire a laser that will go across the entire length of the room, damaging all the enemies it encounters there, which is a wonderful supplement to have to our own tears. It's the Stain. I'm not a big fan of the Stain. Lots of these enemies burrow and you can't harm them while they're burrowing, and it undoes all the good work you've done by putting your snot on the enemy, because when they burrow themselves they lose all of the administered snot. Here we have some Jesus juice, also known as boxed wine, and that lets us do a bit more damage and has a bit more range on our shots. And with that, was there anything we wanted in the shop? There was Steam sale, but we're probably not going to do that much shopping through the course of the run. We don't need to buy a whole battery charge, so we'll just carry on. On to the 4th floor. And Isaac has run out of toilet paper. He's very sad. If this is your first exposure to The Binding of Isaac, you must think that this game is incredibly bizarre. Here we have an arcade. Costs a penny to get in, and when you do so, you can gamble on the slot machines. We get a refund of a penny there. This little guy will take our red hearts and offer us possibly an item from the devil. And this blood donation machine will take our hearts and give us money in return. But since we don't have health to spare right now, we're not going to do that. There you can see our laser doing excellent work, mowing through reams of enemies all at once. We'll take a bomb. Again, we have the curse room, but I don't have the excess health to spare. And this is a library, but unfortunately we have no keys to get inside. Libraries contain a number of books which are use items like our D6s, and they can be used for many things, such as having homing shots if you get the Telekinesis for Dummies book, or the Bible even lets you grow wings and fly for a room. We want to be at the edge of these guys because they shoot on diagonals. And here we have a playing card. This is Justice. They have one for each of the cards in the tarot. Number 8 Justice drops 1 pill, 1 heart, 1 coin, 1 bomb, and 1 key. So now we have a key. We can go either to our library or wait, perhaps, to see our regular item room first. Oh, baby Pin's hiding in the ground. Pin is one of the bosses, and that is a very tiny version of him that is now a standard enemy on many of the rooms. Shoot these poops, see if they're hiding anything. They are not. So we're now, what is it, the 9th of April. We're nearly a third of the way through. Oh god, so many exploding creatures. We're nearly a third of the way through the month, and I'm really surprised that we have at least 5 wins already. 6 if we can complete this one today. And then after this and Crypt of the Necrodancer, I really am out of the games that I know very well. So this is the needle. I've just learned what this does. I believe when you get attacked, you shoot out a ring of tears from your body all around you enemies. But I don't want this because I don't want any items that require me to be hurt in order to be effective. So we will re-roll this. And this is chocolate milk. Chocolate milk let you charge up a milk bubble and shoot it at your enemies, or you can tap to shoot a long stream of shots, which is very good. Another mystery pill here. Speed up. That's nice because our speed was lowered earlier when we picked up the small rock. And now with our extra key, I'm going to prioritize the library instead of the shop. So we have 3 books here. We have Book of Secrets with the question mark, How to Jump with Mario on the cover, and this is the Book of Revelations. The Book of Revelations, when we use it, gives us one of those blue soul hearts. The Learn to Jump literally lets you jump in the game. There's no other way to do this. And Book of Secrets lets you use it and it will tell you something about the map. You can see there we've just learnt where the secret and second secret rooms are. You'll have also seen after we touched 3 books, we got the transformation Bookworm, which has given us a nice monocle. Now that we are very well read, we get to shoot sometimes 2 tears from our face instead of 1. You can see them there coming out in parallel. With 6 bombs, we will take a look at our secret room. There's 2 extra bombs for us. There are programmed rules as to where the secret rooms can appear. This secret room is always next to at least 2 other rooms of full square size that have available access on the walls. Whereas the second secret room that you can find up here on the left is always found at a terminus where no other rooms can be touching it other than the room that gives access to it. And we have a glitch space here, which is a nice set of free abundant resources. That was a lucky penny. Another pill. A bad trip. That hurt us, unfortunately. Remember, kids, don't do drugs. And we have a Fool card, which will let us teleport back to the starting room of any floor, should we need to. Checking our map, we only have the lower left to visit, which is where our boss room will be. And then we'll see how effective this chocolate milk is for mowing through our enemies. With the faster fire rate, it's going to mean we're going to produce these booger tears and flame tears far more frequently, which is wonderful. And now we've got some extra keys, we can visit this shop. And one of the 7 deadly sins here, greed, is here to defend his shop. So we must defeat him if we are to have shops again in the future. And he summoned a few extra enemies, but we can dispatch them, pick up the spare coins, and carry on. Unfortunately, we cannot get through these metal walls in order to collect that heart, and these bright orange fires will shoot back at us with embers, so you have to be careful, as he says while stepping on spikes, which also hurt him. Here we go, we have Pestilence. Pestilence shoots exploding bombs, leaves poison on the floor, and summons maggots. But we are quite alright, and this is a cube of meat. If you've ever seen Super Meat Boy, you'll know of a cube of meat. That will hover around us, around our waist, and it can hurt enemies if we want to get close enough to try and touch them with it, or alternately, if another enemy's projectile is coming towards us and hits the cube of meat instead of us, it will do no harm. Fortunately, we have yet to get any kind of mapping or anything that can let us see where we're going around the course of the floor yet, so we're still flying fairly blind, and I should not stand in front of giant lasers. That is one they teach you in school. 3 sets of enemies for a basic chest is not a trade I want to make, but I will take a free penny from a fireplace. Can't get this bomb because we cannot fly or otherwise get across gaps yet. We could have taken how to jump, but to do so would have meant losing our D6, which is incredibly valuable. The flexibility of not having to take the bad items you don't want is just wonderful. And I hate everything about this room. Okay, we got through that fairly well. So earlier on I was talking about secret rooms. The top and bottom of this room could not be a secret room because you can't access the wall because of the pits. And so by the time you start to build a mental framework of how the map works and what the constituent components of individual rooms are, you start to build a picture of where the secret rooms might be. Now we can shoot on the long sides here to get at the enemies without having to stand in front of the turret. Take an extra penny. Gonna avoid the sacrifice room, the curse room. More bonies here, shooting their bones at us. I just want to make lots of fires for them to walk into, please. Excellent. And in front of us, this room is going to be just like this, except skinnier, so we'll have to be even more on our guard. Here, we have to destroy the heart so that the mask will die. There we go. Still no item room or shop or boss room. Oh god. Alright, there's our item room. And if you've ever seen I think it's the Clockwork Orange, has a thing called the Ludovicio technique in it. It's this item, basically. It holds the eye open so that you always have a tear. And I'm just wondering how it's going to synergize with chocolate milk and the laser that I have. Let's find out. So we still shoot our laser on occasion. And the chocolate milk tear is just full size, floating around of its own care. I say of its own care, we're still in control of it. I could try going down this trail of spikes, but instead I'm just going to blow this wall up and get access to the button that will free us from this room. The heart is nice because we are not at full health. So now we have to navigate the room with one hand while navigating the tier around the room with the other. Here we have another shop. We will certainly take this extra health. We'll take this sack of things. Just had a bomb and a troll bomb. And this 9-volt battery will give us extra quicker charge on our dice if we want to roll it again later. You'll see we're constantly producing fires now in whatever direction our tier is floating around in, because now the game doesn't think that we're shooting on our own anymore. It just thinks we're constantly shooting at whatever direction the tier is. And here is our boss room. Oh, yeah. If I was paying attention, I would have seen that. Get our free penny. And time to fight another boss. Loki. Not the one from the Marvel franchise, just the Trickster Demon. But Artir is wrecking him because he's standing still, which is excellent. We have another deal with the devil. Instead of an item, it's just 3 red chests. Red chests often have troll bombs in, or sometimes are just completely empty. This one does have 2 pills in though. Bad trip we know. This one we do not. Relax just makes us poop a bunch. So we can take the fool card, or we can take the bad trip pill. Now, the bad trip pill will hurt us now if we take it. But if we hold on to it, if we only have 1 heart left, it becomes a full heal pill. So I will hold on to that. And this is a crown. If you win a beauty pageant, you get 7 coins. But instead, I'm going to re-roll it for something more functional. And this is stem cells. We can take that. We'll grow a small void on our face, and we'll now have 4 hearts instead of 3. So that is excellent. And now we're at Necropolis 2. All of the floors come in kind of standard pairs, but each pair has a variant. Thank goodness my fires are doing me great work here. I'm doing a terrible job of guiding this tier around whilst also moving out to safety. We'll spend 1 bomb here to get this skeleton key. This will open as many locks as we need it to this floor. Oh god. Yep. What I really need is some tier speed, I think, so that I can move the Ludovicio tier faster around the room. With 7 bombs, I'm just going to start blowing stuff up. There's a black heart for us. It's like the blue hearts or the silver hearts, but instead of just disappearing when we're attacked, it will go, but it will also damage all the other creatures in the room, which is a great short-term defense. Here we need to push these buttons without getting shot or standing on the spikes, which is a challenge in of itself. And then all the other spikes recede and the room is made safe. Here's some more of these little ghosts, and these gravitational beams, gravitational sucker turrets. They're always trying to pull you to whatever painful fate they are in control of. There's some more of them, look. The Ludovicio technique, excellent there, because it means we can shoot enemies that create beams without ever having to be in direct contact with the beams, or direct line of sight. Speeding along nicely. These brains don't frighten me too much. And we have our item room and our shop, free to get into each. This is the Game Kit. It's a temporary Pac-Man item, and I think I'm going to hold on to it, because while rerolling is powerful, we would like to have this available to us to panic in rooms where we're getting overwhelmed and we can't move our tier around fast enough, and also for bosses. Otherwise here, nothing I really want. The mapping would be nice, but we can't afford it. I could bomb the donation machine, but I'm trying to keep that money there as a resource for when it's more important. These guys are easy enough to destroy because the wall of poops keep them contained. And you can tell when I'm thinking really hard about what I'm doing when I go completely silent. So odds are this will be our second secret room. It's typically found right near the end of the map, but it's not, so it's probably either of these. This one, because it can't be the one beside it. There it is. This guy is a charge beggar. If you give him coins, he may recharge your item with the green pips next to it you see in the top left. So I think we might be fighting our mum now, if my memory serves me correctly. Yes, here is Mum. Mom. So Mum will stomp on us and generally cause us a bad time. The four corners of the room can either spawn more creatures. Leave me alone. Slam down hands, shoot lasers with eyes. I should use the game kid. Enemies run away from you, and if you eat enough of them, you gain health back, which is lovely. We're going to take the Polaroid here. A nice family picture. We have not lost any of our red hearts, so we don't need to pick this one up, and we'll carry on down to the womb. We started in a house in the intro sequence, and we climbed through a trapdoor, and then you go through the basements, the caves, the necropolis, and now we are in the Scarred Womb 1. The Empress. This lets us turn into a slightly more powerful version of ourselves for a room, but I'm just going to hold on to this pseudo full health pill until I'm given a reason not to otherwise. This sucks. These guys are going to shoot lasers, and it's hard to move the tier all the way across the screen in a fast fashion. Really wish I'd gotten that map now. It doesn't tell you where all the different things are, it just gives you the outline of the floor. But if you have the compass tells you where all the different individual rooms are, but just not the pathing to get to them. Whereas if you have both, then you have the completed map. These rooms, if you don't panic, you realise you're actually perfectly safe. Anything in here worth fighting over? Certainly not. Empty rooms always feel more suspicious than they should. But the wonderful thing about Ludovico is the infinite range we have, as much as we can see what's going on at the other side of the screen. Get this guy before he takes off his leash. A couple more brains there. And on this floor, there's no item rooms, there's no shops. We are just looking for the boss room, and we have found it, so let's tackle what's behind it. Mama Gertie. This should be pretty easy because Mama Gertie doesn't move, so we can just leave our tier at the top there and do a terrible job of trying to avoid her various attacks. This is a bandage. It's going to give us a HP up, but it's not going to fill it with a heart for us. So perhaps we can find one in a previous room. I'm going to make the long walk back to fill the 5th heart container that we have. Because, I mean, you can imagine you'd rather have 5 health than 4. Very simply. The map is very kind in that it shows you what's available on each room if you've been to them already. There we go. We'll pick up our pill as we go back. And when you're going for the secret endings in this game, the very many different secret endings, the bosses are just so incredibly difficult sometimes, especially with the random nature of the items that you get in this game. Sometimes you'll get incredibly powerful items, sometimes you'll get stuff that's relatively weak or pointless. For example, there's an item called the Poop that just makes a poop and nothing else. But fortunately for us, we aren't going for the most difficult or complex boss today. We're just kind of going for the standard ending. And these guys are paying out extra money, but we don't really need money because we've got nothing to spend it on. So if we become desperate for hearts or anything later, we might revisit. But right now, we're just going to keep chugging through the womb. Don't quote me on that. This is one of the bosses from the earlier floors, now as a standard enemy later in the dungeons. Where's my tier? And the boogers and fires there doing a great job of taking out the enemy while we're otherwise dealing with the riffraff. Don't know how I'm ever going to avoid that shot. Troll bomb. But we can take a red heart. These guys can only be damaged when they pop their little necks out. And they're only wanting to do that when you're not shooting at them. But when your tier is constantly present and always shooting, makes for a difficult trade-off in mechanics. Come on, I know you want to come out. If I put my tier over here. Excellent. Another card, the Two of Spades. This doubles either our bombs or our keys. I can never remember which. It was keys, so we have twice as many keys as we had. Not that I think we'll be needing 16 keys for very much down here. This is wound 2, isn't it? Yeah, Utero 2. So earlier on we fought Mum. Once we get to the end of this floor, we are going to fight Mum's Heart, basically. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. Unfortunately, we can't get over there if there were anything for us. You might have heard Mum cackle there. That means her hands are going to come and try and grab us. And if we get caught, not only will we be damaged, but they would pull us back several rooms in the dungeon, which is not fun. So we got hit then, and a red heart spawned out of us and fell to the ground. That is a side effect of the bandage that we got a couple of floors ago, which I'm very grateful to have. So here we're going to fight a giant heart. First of all, take out the laser eyes. And then put the tier in the middle and just worry about dodging. Times like these that Ludovico technique really come into their own. And now we can either take the trapdoor down to hell or the beam of light up to the cathedral. And that is my preference today. So now we're up in this angelic space where many wondrous creatures reside. Many kinds of varied angels and holy creatures and eyeballs that shoot beams of light from the sky. And I should have killed the first one before I moved over to try and get the second. But I think a fire helped me out there. We do, of course, still have our game kid if we panic. And this isn't too bad. We just have to follow the clockwise pattern of the shots around until we can get to the button. Then the room is rendered safe and we can walk through it. We have little crying angel babies. But with such large rooms and such slow enemies, Ludovico technique really is helpful here. With infinite range, we can just stay nice and safe far back. Again, one of the earlier floor bosses appearing as a standard enemy here. And we've come across a dead end, which is a great shame, but we will just keep hunting for one of the rays that will be the correct way, because you've got to get there eventually, haven't you? A whole 2 cents. Thanks ever so much. Always keeping our eyes out for those rocks that are marked with a little cross that have loot inside them. Oh god, oh god. And there's only mild panic. We have to get rid of these turrets that are keeping the other enemies safe before we can take them out. Anything of value in here? No. Sometimes there'll be an actual item in there rather than just generic chests. I've not seen this giant-brained version of a bony before. Oh, hello, troll bomb. Alright, so we've gone 3 of the directions from the spawn room, and all of them were incorrect, so let's take this last route. Oh god. Please, tiny things die. Tiny things are the worst kind of things. Insert your own "that's what she said" joke there. When enemies do get too close for comfort, we also have... oh my god. We have the cube of meat, which is very helpful. And this is the head of a dead cat that when we use it produces flies that will attack our enemies. Again, if this is your first exposure to the Binding of Isaac, it's a strange one. We do have our emergency bad trip pill that will become full health in the event of us only having 1 HP left. But I'm hoping we can find some more health somewhere else. There's a little. And we must be coming up on our boss room soon. Oh, a free piece of health. That's very kind of them. Of course, we would find every dead end before finding where we wanted to be. Oh, heart, take it. Get the turret. Get everything else. And there's a battery charge there, so we're just going to go full game kid on this room. And nothing's going to die from it, apparently, because we are too weak. Where's our... there he is. Okay. We'll get a battery charge for the next room. And here we will attack... it is, in fact, ourselves. Isaac versus Isaac. Just get our tier in the center there, and then start dodging. Badly. These beams of light can almost always be avoided by being in the corner. Oh, as I said, almost. They changed this rule because it was always safe before the update to stand in the corner. But we should be fine here. So nearly dead. And there's that done. Here is the chest. Before we do that, let's go back and get this half heart that was a few rooms back. And then we will enter the final floor of this run. And if we can beat that floor, we will put on our 7th win in 9 days. So this is the chest, and the chest has the wonderful bonus that there are 4 golden chests here. And each of these is guaranteed to have an item in. So let's see what we get. Flush, Mega Bean, Curse of the Tower, and a tiny chest. So, Curse of the Tower, every time we are hit and take damage, the room will fill with troll bombs. That's bad. This is a Mega Fart. Oh no, if we cry for a long time, then we will fart, and a little gas cloud will appear and damage our enemies. This is a little chest that follows us along and can drop loot. And this is a toilet plunger that when used will turn all of the basic enemies in a room into poops. So bad luck on those, unfortunately. So now we'll go fight some rooms, see if we can't find some superior items. And I panicked. Doesn't bode well for the rest of this floor. That boss died and dropped a quarter. Unfortunately, money doesn't mean anything to us here. but I will happily take this extra piece of health. I'm going to start trying to strategically use my bombs to do damage to these large worm creatures that chase us, and will swallow them, taking extra damage. Troll bomb there. And a pill. That pill is a mystery to us. 48-hour energy means we've got 2 extra battery charges, which means we can use our game kit a little more liberally, which is excellent. And here is War, summoning loads of bombs, while Pestilence just hangs out in the background. Come on, War. Come die. Now he's a little scared baby. Free bomb. This is our secret room. Oh, we just fought 2 of you. Well, nice to know we can handle 1. So I am going to keep picking up the money, because just on the off chance that we get an item called money equals power, where the more money you have, the more damage you deal. And I'm going to do this. Good. Get this last spider. See what this card is. It's the Fool. That will take us back to the beginning, but we don't need to do that. Let's try this giant room. It's filled with gurglings. If we just stay directly out of their line of sight, they're less likely to, excuse me, antagonize us. Even this giant fellow. Now, what are the odds this room on the left goes directly to our boss room? Let's take this. More charge for our item. No, it's a dead end. We knew it was going to be, didn't we? Troll bomb blows us up as standard. I think there's some hearts in the previous rooms that we've been through. And then we'll take one of the other directions, because at this point, what more can we do? Just keep exploring, looking for the final boss. Being grateful that once we get there, those are the only bosses that we have to fight. We still don't want either of these. This is a Game Kid moment if I ever saw one. We actually healed from eating them that time, which is always grateful. Big horn here. Oh, give me some space, dude. Okay, that's that one done. It's amazing how far you can come in a game like this. So many of these enemies I thought completely undefeatable the first couple of times you encounter them. And then you slowly learn the patterns, learn what items are good, what things to avoid. Another bean. Toot on command. No thank you. Another one of these giant rooms. With various demons to attack us inside. Fires are doing all the work here. I've completely lost my tier. There it is. Well, that went on far too long. We're still not done. Okay, now we're done. Hey, we found the boss room, guys. So just take loads of damage right at the end when you want to have as much health as possible. We'll search these edge rooms here on the perimeter for a second secret room. There's a chance that it's here. It's not. There's a half heart in here somewhere though. We're not going to take it, which sounds counterintuitive, but if you have one half heart left while holding the Polaroid, you get a brief period of invincibility at the end. So, without any further ado, this is the final boss. We're just going to leave our Ludovico technique, Tia there in the center, try and recover the health that we drop. Remembering that we have this bad trip pill if we really need it in just a moment. I'm hoping it still works as advertised. But we're not going to need it. In the chest we go. And that is a success. We have defeated the Binding of Isaac Repentance. It's going to say Afterbirth or Afterbirth Plus on the trophy cabinet. But there, top center, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Now completed. We are 6 games in 9 days. And I've no idea what I'm going to try and play tomorrow. But thank you ever so much for staying this long with me if you're still here. I'll see you tomorrow for whatever we play on the 10th. Thank you ever so much for watching. Cheers.